Welcome everyone to Wednesday Night Live. We got an excellent show for you guys tonight. We got Tim is going to bring us the latest news and advocacy. Tom is going to tell us what's cheesing him off. And we got the poll question of the week. Tom, if you do that ever again, I will kill you. And we got the poll question of the week. Also, Tim has got a product review. What product are you going to be reviewing for us
Well,
tonight,
it's
Tim?
an unboxing, actually.
It's an unboxing, sorry.
Yes,
Well,
and it would be the Vaporesso Swag.
the swag.
PX80. The Swag.
The swag.
Swaggy.
So let's get the show started by saying hello to my team, Brian, Tom, and Tim. Tim.
Yes.
Tim is all blue. I like that setup right there. That color mode, it looks good on the camera. Everything looks good.
I think by the end of this whole process, I'll be bald on the show. I swear to God. I don't think there will be one strand of hair or follicle that's active on my noggin. I've come to that conclusion.
They have apps that you can put your picture in just to see what you would look like bald. Maybe you should.
I really don't want to have like one of those meltdowns in the shower, where the person's crying and you slowly slide down the wall, into the fetal position, and then later you'll find me under the kitchen sink with a box of Cheerios. I'll just be like, leave me alone.
You'll have just a couple strands of your hair left in your hand.
Trying to glue it back in.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold on to my youth. I don't want to be Captain Picard next week. I'm just saying.
For everyone out there, if you haven't learned your lesson with the girl with the Gorilla Glue does not work as hairspray. I don't care how close or similar the bottle looks to hairspray, it doesn't work.
No.
Well, actually, it works.
What's up, James? What's up, Daniel?
Yeah,
guys. I'm actually waiting for Tim to get the very first LED tan.
It might happen. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with like a spray-on stuff that's like reactive to LED lights, and then I'll just as soon as the stuff turns on, I just all of a sudden I become like
RGB.
I become bronzed out. Just there's no hard body going on here though. There's absolutely no hard body going on.
Well,
this James.
Yeah, hopefully you can't get any kind of I don't know, diseases or stuff from LED lights, because we'll all be in trouble.
Yeah,
we'll have to wait like 10 years down the road when the study comes out. LDE lights have caused cancer in the scalp, in the balls, and
in the short term, it's going to result in therapy for me. I'm confident now.
You'll be having RGB nightmares at night where you're just going to see colors. You won't see any images of people. It'll just be colors flashing off and on and going into rainbow mode. What is happening, Brian? What is Brian up to?
Oh, not much. Just playing around with some more devices, moving some things around, and finding stuff that after reorganizing still, finding other things. I'm like, hey, I should play with that some more. Yeah, well, that's always fun.
Yeah.
I have to admit, Brian, I'm very impressed with the transformation that has taken place.
Looks
over
better
the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I love the shelf behind you.
I need to add stuff like right here though. So
yeah, you need something right there.
Yeah,
right there. You know what would look good right there? A picture of me. A picture of me.
No, just get some pinups from like Playboy or something.
Are you guys ready for this? This was made for me as a joke from my boys.
John, no stripping on the show.
Oh God. Vape God?
Really?
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
Oh, that's going to go right to your head.
Yeah. No, that was a Christmas gift from my kids, like I don't know, maybe 2 years ago.
I can't put that on this wall here.
No, well, you could put my picture up there. A picture of the group of us. You can get one of those. What is it?
Practice, Brian.
A collage.
Like Wednesday Night Live. Yeah, Wednesday Night Live shrine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, put a candle on there.
Get like a screen and put it here, and then create like an animated GIF, and then all it is John's head, and it's just going like hitting like right here constantly this way, so it's bumping his head against the wall. That looked
That would
funny.
work.
That's what I need. Well, since everybody is requesting it, we don't normally do this, guys, because we kind of feel like it's not a waste of time during the show, but we kind of figure every show does it. But we'll go ahead and we're going to swing back up to Tim, and Tim's going to tell you what he's vaping and what kind of e-juice he's
All right.
using.
And I tell you what, I'll do an abbreviated. What am I vaping on? Because we would be here all night. So
yeah, we'll test it out. We'll do it a couple times. This is something we probably won't be doing every show, guys. But go ahead, Tim.
All right. So tonight's mod addy juices of choice are the Lost Vape Groose with the carbon fiber accents. You got the Oxfa Arbiter, the RTA with the black O-ring set. Got rid of those gaudy red ones. And in that I have that dude. And then the e-juice or e-liquid. Sorry, I just said juice. It's really good juice, guys. So anybody who's into tropical kind of flavors, this is the High Drip Iced Island Orange. So it's got orange in it, pineapple, just really kind of beachy, tropical flavors. I highly recommend. If you like iced flavors, I don't know that they have it in a non-iced, so don't scream at me. I don't like iced flavors.
I don't like iced flavors.
And then you know what? This is where I'm going to screw up a little bit, but I got the Argus Air with I believe it's something called Gold. I don't remember the actual brand name of it. It was in one of my sample boxes. And then hold on, I have not enough light in here, so I can't read it. Spectrum is the company. It's some kind of a peach mango. And that is in the Caliburn G, and I'm going to call it a day because that's enough for everyone.
Excellent. Brian, what is Brian vaping on?
I actually have a few things still on my trusty little Aegis. I've
He's on
still
the
been
Aegis.
rocking this thing.
He's rocking the Aegis.
Easy to bring around, but I've been on using my little.
Remember the name. Come on, make the name.
The Q Ultra.
There you go.
And then I've been actually on this one. I've actually have 6 milligram in here, and only at like 20 watts on this guy. And this guy actually, it's USB-C charge, internal battery, charges very quickly. It actually works pretty well. I don't know. I just like it. And then the one that's been fascinating me for the last 2 weeks right now is the Aegis Boost Pro.
The Boost Pro. You know what the Boost Pro gets? It gets 5 Smile Kings out of 5 Smile Kings.
I'm kind of fascinated with this thing. It's single 18650. It's a pod mod, but it comes with 2 different coils. So you got the 0.6 or the 0.4, and the 0.4 is like 4. I've been using that one at 40 watts, and now I'm on the 0.2, and I use that one at 50 watts. 6 mil capacity, USB-C charging, single 18650, so you can charge it. Or I've been trying to see if there's any charging issues. So far, not. It's handling the USB-C pretty well. But you can also get the little RDTA for it. This little guy.
Nice.
Everybody's doing that now. Everybody's doing RDTA pods.
Yeah. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So I mean, it lasts. Yeah, I don't know. Single 18650 for me lasts, say 40 watts, been maybe say 6 hours or so. So I mean, it's not going to last you like all day, but I don't like that door.
They went that route, huh?
Yeah, that door annoys me. I always hate those. I understand why, but I wish I could just go flip out real quick, flip in, off we go.
Yeah.
Versus twist, pull it out, and then put it back in again.
How many? Is it a long twist, or I mean, is it several twists? I guess
it's several twists. Yeah.
It's not like 1, 2 off.
No, it's about four half turns roughly. So like,
I mean, it's 2021. I mean, they could have did like a push in and turn and lock kind of a setup for it instead of just twist. You know what I mean? How like they have on some of the on some of the RTAs where you can kind of push down, turn it, and comes off. They could have did the same thing with that.
I wish what they did. I wish what they would have done is made it just a tad bit bigger and put a 21700 in here instead.
Yeah,
It lasts longer. It is supposed to be a 100-watt device.
yeah,
Take it for what you will with a single 18650. I wouldn't recommend running 100 watts. You're going to just blow through batteries every 2 hours.
Battery. Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it. The production is actually very good. Simple fill on the very, very top, so you don't have to take anything off.
Yeah.
Airflow is on the very front here, and doesn't move when you put it in your pocket, which is really nice. As you can see, I'm moving it. It's not even moving. So it's a little tight fit on there. Flavor's pretty decent. Of course, I've been only using like single, blueberries or apples or what have you. So, I know what it is. But so far so good. I mean, I like it. I like bringing it around. Super easy to bring around. Easy to fit in your hand. So far I like it. Been pretty impressed on it so far.
Look at our host
Yeah.
having another show outside of this show.
No other show outside of this show.
He's having a totally different vape show on a totally different channel. We didn't know. We just found it.
Is that everything there, Timmy boy? I mean, Tom. I mean, Brian.
You'll get right sooner or later.
One of you guys.
Keep going. You keep going. You'll get to him eventually.
Yeah, there's only so many of us.
Oh, and then the juice I had was
Is Cutwood even around anymore?
Prophet. Sir Tropical Blue Raspberry.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, well, they got bought. Don't quote me on it.
I think they got bought out.
They got bought out by Big Tobacco, I think.
I thought they did too.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the in the community. Yeah, excellent juice though. Excellent juice. I mean, most of us that started in the beginning, that's pretty much all. Well, if you didn't have a vape shop and you were just walking into a kiosk or something, that's basically all they had. It's Cutwood. Tom boy, tell us how you're doing and what are you vaping on? What kind of juice are you sucking up in your face?
Like when I'm putting in my face hole.
Yeah, in your face hole.
I'm doing all right. Had a pretty week. Nothing real fancy or special happened. I am vaping on the Lost Fit Goose in silver with zebra wood. On top of that is an intake tank because I'm lazy.
You lazy.
And inside that is Vapecraft Tropical Twist. Got it from Sample Box. Pretty tasty. Odin non-DNA with an RDA for vaping on top. And inside that, I got some Prohibition Syntax, which is a phenomenal peanut butter custard.
Phenomenal.
That's all I got.
That's it? That's all you got?
Yeah, I'm not really going to do a whole review on everything, because if you want to know, go buy it and check it out yourself.
Nice.
I'm that kind of guy.
Great. Well, I am doing great, guys. I am vaping on the Paranormal with the Dead Rabbit version 2, and I am still vaping on the Mint's Peppermint in that. I finally got this thing to work with the my camera's not going to pick that up, but with the Aries version 2 V2, and then that I got I think I put barista in there. I think it is. I think it's the cranberry apple refresher, and that's it. That's all I'm vaping on.
I heard something about barista today.
What did you read?
They are no longer going to be shipping out liquid to consumers.
Correct.
Yeah,
It was on the Sample Box group actually.
yeah, it was on the Sample Box group. Well, that is
made me a little sad.
yeah. Is that? Did it say just in the U.S.?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Because
because I
of
think they're
backpack.
still. Yeah, well, I guess I don't know if they. I don't know if they actually shipped worldwide to a consumer, but I know they. I think they shipped worldwide to shops and stuff. So I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe we'll get them on here and they can tell us their whole story. Tell us everything that's going on.
What are you doing, Sam?
I'm
using,
trying to make the light escape my glasses. See, look, I'm like
Good luck.
cyborg.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Cyborg right there.
I have all my studio lights positioned a certain way so they don't pick up in my glasses. And it's been I sat here for friggin' hours one night trying to do this with these big lights. I'm like, okay. And then everyone. I tried to use the other one. I think it was Bob Brian that said I look like I don't know who he's talking about, but Sesame Street, the Muppets with those rings in your eye. I don't know. He said I look like some character from Sesame Street. I was like, okay, I will not be using the ring light anymore if I look like that. We got Mom's keys, bridge filled.
Mum's key with bridged, filled with some Welsh custard, one shot from Chefs. And when you say bridged, Toasty Cheesy, do you mean like a bridged
like a billet
Addy?
box?
Like
a bridge atomizer?
Billet box. That's what I'm guessing.
I have not ventured into the billet box arena, only because I basically would have to take out a second mortgage on my home.
Correct. And it would take away from your RGB fund.
Yeah, I was thinking about those bridged atomizers from like 8 years ago that we used to
those were great.
Little 510 bridged atomizers.
I'm actually surprised Tim's not vaping on like an LED tank and LED mods too.
I have an LED mod. It don't start. I should have got it out. It's the Vupu X217. Got the fancy LEDs cycling on the front side. So just for Brian next week, I'm breaking that one.
Need to get yourself one of those smock tanks with the LEDs in them too.
Yeah.
No. And there was what was the one that Indoor Smokers featured that was the mod that had like the flashing LEDs on it, that like rave style. There was one, I don't think it was a big seller, but it had like a LED light on top of the mod. So you would vape it, and then the whole point was when you blew out your vapor, you press the button and this LED would flash all these different colors and make the cloud look all funky and stuff.
I'm surprised you don't know what this mod is called.
Dude, that was before. That was long before my LED game. That was long before my LED.
This is long before
that was probably during the time when I went, LEDs are stupid. Like, why would I get that stuff? And then now look at me.
I seem to remember saying something similar about LEDs, RGB, Alexas.
No, you know what the mentality was like years ago. It was why do I want to invest in all that stuff? I mean, basically, technology is just going to make us lazy, and so you have that overall mentality. And then now I just talk to my house. I
right. When was the last time you went and turned on a switch?
Dude, there's no calluses on these fingers.
You need that one right there.
That's not. Ugh. Yeah, I you know what? I'll dig it up. I just can't remember what it was called. I'm sure somebody that watches the show had one of those LED mods.
You'll have it ready for the next episode. You'll have it ready.
You'll have it ready after the show tonight.
He'll have some RGB pants on and stuff, and you'll just get up and
I'll do my version of space pants from Saturday Night Live.
Tim will just do his intro like the Blue Man Group. Just come out with the LTD
space pants,
banging on drums, vaping and blowing his smoke into the drums, and all the lights flashing. We'll have to have like one of those warnings before Tim does his intro. Tim's intro may cause you to have a stroke, so please do it.
I'm going to put disclaimers before I come on the show.
If flashing lights and smoke, it may cause you to have a seizure. Please shut your TV off while Tim does his intro.
All right.
A public service announcement. There you go. That's right at the beginning. Oh man.
Dude, that's what you need, Tim. One of those Iron Man mods that you can talk to and adjust the wattage on it. You need that, and then you also need the LED ones. That's what you need. All that stuff.
Bernie in the house.
Hey, Bernie.
Heyo. Yeah. You know what? I really have gone off the deep end at this point. So I need.
We know a little extra.
I need an intervention.
We know this. We've watched this whole progression take place.
Start with one.
That did change. The iJoy Avenger. I think that one lit up too, if I remember correctly. I think that was
be the one. Well, was that the tank or was that the mod itself?
The mod did too, but the tank did too. I have one. They did the light thing way back, even before it was popular. iJoy, because they had the tank that had the little bulb on the bottom of it. It was their It was one of their sub-ohm tanks, and I think it came out. I think it came out the same time Smock came out with their LDE light. When you hit the button, the light would go on, and it was on the bottom of the RTA, and it just had like a bulb in it. And then everybody's like, I remember when it first came out, everybody's like, well, that's stupid. It's just going to take away from your battery life. But then everybody started buying it like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, if anybody watching the show knows the mod I'm talking about, it just had like a little light on the top of the mod. Kinda, James.
And
it had
the IPv5 with the flashlight.
No,
only it changed colors.
I guess I just don't remember the name of it, and you could press the button, and it would just make this LED light kind of flash on the top. You didn't have to push the button to make it do it, but it was just a thing that was there for fun.
All right, guys. I am going to apologize. I'm going to have to step away. I have my whole entire family here right now. My son, who's in the Navy, just got back from being underwater for 3 months, and he's came home. So I'm going to visit with my family a little bit. Brian is going to be taking over the show here as the host, and I'll be back on. I promise I'll be back on before it ends. And Brian's going to take over. He's going to do the poll question, and when we have news and advocacy, and then Tom will be doing his What Cheeses Me Off. But I apologize because you guys won't be able to see your comments on the screen. If that's an issue for some of you, I apologize. But I'm sure Tim will read them off and let you make sure your questions get answered and stuff like that. So have a good show. I'll be back before it ends.
Have fun, John.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Just drop out of the broadcast. Just put yourself backstage.
Yeah.
Now we can't hear him.
No.
Just go back. There
There
you
we
go.
go. All
Now
right.
we can talk about him.
Right now we can talk smack.
Now we can talk.
Chat
about
can
him.
talk smack too. We don't care.
Yeah. So hold on. I'm gonna pull up this mod here in a second. And Brian, you can host away. I found the mod that I was talking about.
Just remember, we can't share screens now.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
Right. Well,
that-
then
it-
everyone. Okay. Let me just make sure I have the right full name for it, and then people can go look at it. It was from a company called Linked Vape. Linked Vape. It was called the Aero Kit. The Aero Kit. That was
That
the
sounds
name
like
of the
an
mod.
off name, something like I wouldn't even think.
Indoor Smokers reviewed this mod back in 2018, so it is a few years old, and I think it was a flash in the pan, and I don't think a whole lot of people bought it. I, for one, did not.
You can.
See, it doesn't click for me when you said that name. So
It's,
Well,
it's
like I
on
said,
Element Vape.
I don't think it was a very popular mod to begin with. So it was very gimmicky, obviously. I don't know. That's just the way I feel about mods anymore, right?
yeah, well, I mean that's the way Smock mods were too. I mean, a lot of them were gimmicky. A lot of them had they had the Star Wars little theme going on for a little bit. They had the LED stuff going on for a little bit, and all that stuff. I mean, but they were always coming out with new stuff too, all at the same time. So they had to be different though too. So, there's that.
Yeah, I think what I'm just saying though is it's like, I think in terms of a manufacturer perspective, I mean, there are mods that perform very well, and then there's mods that are very average, and then there's junk. But what I'm saying is, like, when it comes down to it, and you're talking about a mod, it really doesn't change the outcome of the vape all the time, unless you're doing something unique like temperature control, or it's just a very responsive, ramp up or fire. Beyond that, it's just battery and a screen and aesthetics
And button, and off it goes.
Yeah, and so you're done. So we have to add shit to the mod to interest people.
Sorry, you can't buy it at this site. It's out of stock.
Yeah, it's pretty sure that one's gonna be hard to find right now.
Yeah, and don't even try on Fast Tech. It'll say discontinued. I've done that like 8 gajillion times.
Oh, so you have been looking for it?
No, but I have been looking for things that I didn't know existed, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool tank, or oh, that's a cool mod, and then it's like you can't get it in the United States to begin with. You can get it in very, a few places. A lot of times it'll be usually on the China website.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow,
That's true.
So that's
Well,
that.
well, what we'll do is we'll just go on to the poll question real quick. You guys both saw it too, right? You guys kind of voted on it.
I did not.
You did not?
It was
I
the
did
old one.
not.
Yeah, the old one. It was on the 9th of February.
Can you refresh my memory?
Which
link is in
are your
chat.
favorite brands when it comes to vape mod manufacturers?
Okay, got you. I think I added a few.
Yeah. I voted a few times on here on a few different things. So it was kind of surprising. The top one was Geek Vape. You know, I mean, to be honest, like they actually have some decent mods out there, but they didn't come out of the gate like Sigali and like Dot Mod and Kanger and then Smock and all that stuff. Like they were actually last 8 years maybe I'd say something like that. 5
Yeah,
years?
about that.
Yeah, but is some of that due to the fact that when certain people start getting into the game, popularity kind of takes over? Not to put any particular product down, but like everybody would go and get like the baby beast tank from Smoke or Smoke, whatever you want to call them. So I think certain ones kind of climb to the top just due to peer popularity.
Yeah, it could be. One thing I know, like with Geek Vape, like their known stature, their known uniqueness of it, is you can beat the living crap out of their mods and they'll still work.
So we're talking about like the Aegis and
All the Aegis mods, yeah.
yeah.
And
I've never owned one of those.
Geek Vape was around, like they did like the Eagle Tank and stuff like that before, which was very
Peerless.
unique. The Peerless, stuff like that. But they didn't really rise in popularity until like they came out. Their indestructible mods though.
Yeah, I don't need to. I'm sure I have something from Geek Vape in here, but I don't know what it is right now off the top of my head.
Yeah, they also had
can't place it.
tools and all that stuff too that people would use.
You're right, Mike. That's what you should do with the Aero kit. Just hang it on your Christmas tree. That's what I would do with it, or just put it on a stake and stick it in the front yard.
You would use it.
It'd be like Star Shower.
You'd use it. Don't lie.
I probably would for like a hot minute, and then I'd be like, okay, that was fun. Let's move on to something else now.
Right.
Who was second, Brian? Geek Vape number 1?
Vupu was the next one.
That doesn't surprise me. And does that surprise any of you guys, given there was that hot minute where all the drama happened? Does anybody watching the show, does anyone remember the drama surrounding the Vupu?
I do. I don't know. Some do. I don't know. You want to explain a little bit?
The synopsis, basically.
Yeah.
So this was well, right. So there was a couple things that happened with Vupu. That was not this one. The first one was the first one. Then there was one that happened not long after that. But there was a time when Tony B was in the process of designing a mod with Vandy Vape, and
Pulse 2.
Yeah, right, the Pulse 2. And he was coming up with this form factor, and I want to say somewhere during the process there was a lot of back and forth with the China manufacturer and the parts that they could get and the chipset that they were going to use and all this other stuff. And and without going into a whole lot of specifics, it was just he was basically going to miss his timeline and all that. And then right during all of that mess, Vupu came out with their mod, and their mod looked almost identical to Tony B's design, and they put theirs out first. And so
Close.
yes, and everybody sort of felt like Tony B got reamed by being kind of like Vupu, like taking his idea and marketing it. So then started like the typical boycott Vupu. And I don't think there ever really was a boycott of Vupu. I think everybody kind of bucked up and grew up and just got beyond it all, and everybody moved on. Boycotts never work.
No. It just gets their name more out there, and people want to look there, check it out.
They want to find out what the drama was.
Right.
And it was because Tony B wanted to use the gene chip in the Pulse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and there was obviously some politics to it, ones that most of us will never understand because we don't design mods. We're not talking to
We're not
manufacturers
on that
in
side
China
of the
all the
industry.
time. Yeah. And then the second thing with Vupu was that channel on YouTube where like the guy used to pull pranks on his brother or pranks on people,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't flagged as like an adults only show or something like that. And
Oh, that's right.
and Vupu sent him their mod basically for free, like to test it out, and he ended up taking the mod and using it to pull a prank, claiming he put like, I don't know, some kind of hot vape in it or something like that and gave it to his brother to vape, and so that made Vupu look bad, you know,
I don't
because they
think
were kind of
Vupu really. I don't think Vupu really became popular to the drag part though. The drags
Yeah,
came out, and then
the
that's when they
drags.
really became popular.
yeah, the
Yeah.
drag
Or-
was their breakthrough. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that was a tough mod.
Yeah.
the drag.
Yeah.
it was a heavy mod actually.
I mean, it's not as good as like an Aegis, but
Well, did they? No, I'm thinking of Lost Vape. I was going to say, did they collab with somebody on the like the drag series that's all kind of like exploded in the last
I have
6
no
months?
idea.
It seemed, or
I
since
don't
last
think
year.
so. I think so because the drag came out when the drag side panel stuff that came out when that was just starting to become popular, the resin panels, and then also same time that's when the cartel was coming out too.
Right.
Cartel, and then the drag came out after the cartel.
Yeah. I just
But
was
then
in.
the cartel had issues with their battery door, so everyone went to the drag part. If I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Well, I remember when the drag the Vupu 2 came out, all the girls liked that one. That one
Those
was a
colors.
little bit more. Yeah,
Yep.
the colors were a little bit more feminine. I think more pinks and blues and stuff like that. And then now, yeah, I've got a couple Vupu things going on.
Mhm.
Got it. What was 3, Brian?
3 was a Lost Vape.
Yeah, and I think their popularity has probably just picked up a lot more recently too, just because they've become more affordable for everyone.
Yeah, because Lost Vape used to be the brand that you'd have to spend money to get, kind of like Dot Mod.
Yep.
That's the way they were at the time. And now I think they've done something with the pricing or something like that where things seem super affordable and you still get that name.
And you get the same quality, or at least
Right.
it seems to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, none of the stuff that's out with Lost Vape now was really. Well, wait, maybe was there breakthrough in terms of cost affordability, kind of like when the Orion came out? Wasn't that theirs? Wasn't the Orion Lost Vape?
Yeah, it's Lost Vape.
And they got into the pod market and stuff
Mhm.
like that, and obviously, you know, they couldn't charge, you know, $150 to $200. My first Lost Vape mod was the Triad, and that was what, 100 and something. It was impossible to find when I first used it. That was the DNA 250C though,
You
so
mean
that
these?
was a different. Yeah, the Orion pod, and everybody really liked that pod, and still does. I
My
don't
first
think.
Lost Vape.
Yeah, well, you have that's the
Theron 166.
oh, the Therion, right? And then they had the Paranormal and the Centaurus. Is that right?
Centaurus.
Yeah, Centaurus.
Yeah,
And
I got the
then
Paranormal too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I liked their first iteration of mods when they were coming out, but they were harder to find because they just weren't making them anymore to make room for making new stuff.
They were always having the DNA chips in their mods though too. I think that's
Mhm.
where the expense was too. I think they had a contract with Evolve too to keep getting with their chips. I think maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I just think they were way above most people's price point in the vape game. You know, I mean, you just not everybody could afford a couple $100 on a mod,
Right.
and then still have to be able to buy juice and
Right. Well, that's like this thing came out as like the 166, like Tom was saying, but then you can get a smock mod that goes with 200 watts and a tank for, say, half the price of
A
this.
fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
And they do the exact same thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people still debate that whole topic about whether or not, you know, going with the DNA really makes that much of a difference in their world. You know, I think chips have come a long way since the DNA chips really kind of first came onto the scene, because they were more about temp control and all that other real high-end kind of stuff that a chip could potentially do. And then now everything does temperature control and a lot more accurately than before, and you know, you don't have to get a Yeehee mod or with a, you know, an SX chip in it.
Well, the DNA mods, like the evolved chip, was really very, very accurate. I would use mine to build my atomizer, put them on there, and just if I didn't have my ohm meter around, I would use that DNA mod to check the resistance, and then I'd
Right.
put on my other mods.
Yeah.
Super accurate chip, and you're paying, for customize, for being able to customize it, your own splash screens on it, your own backgrounds, all that stuff. Like there was actually a big, huge community. I don't know if I'm still part of it or not. It was like a DNA creations or something like that, and people had folders upon folders of all these different graphics you could put on all the DNA mods and stuff like that. And so that's where I think that's where the customize being able to customize your mods kind of really started to really push through. There was stuff like that.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I remember when Wismec finally pushed out a firmware update so that you could put like a graphic on the 200 screens and stuff like that. And I'd sit there for hours and design them. All right, what else? Do top five. Do top five.
It's your Vaporesso, UL, then Dovepo, the next three. And then Vanny Vape, Smock. Very surprising. That was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The number 8 is Smock.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's because people are learning.
Right.
You're gonna be top 5.
People are finding out the truth.
Well, it also helps too in the last couple of years that they haven't really been throwing out a bunch of products like before either.
Right. The ones that surprised me are like on the ones on the bottom are like Baytech, Vape, Sigelli, Kennedy, Dot Mod. Those are in the lower like 10 at least.
Yeah, but I mean, I just feel like since the beginning, since the early times, like to me back then, Sigelli seemed to be like a huge name compared to everything else. Now you just don't see a whole lot from Sigelli. I mean, not that they aren't making stuff, I just don't hear much from them,
And with like Dot and Kennedy, they've always been higher priced that it's not affordable for everybody.
Right.
Like some of the other brands.
Yeah, Sigelli hasn't come out with a whole lot of anything new, really. They're the pod market now they're coming into with, but they haven't come out on disposables, but they haven't come out with really. I think the last one was a fog stick. I think that's the last.
Well, actually, wait a minute though. I want to say I feel that might be the most recent thing, but I feel like the one that actually kind of like hung around for a while. At least I remember this anyway. Was the Fuchai mod, Sigelli Fuchai. That one was kind of popular because it was like a nice form factor. It looked good. I think to me that was like their last big thing. And then they had one thing that kind of had like a circular kind of porthole kind of screen on it with a toggle, kind of like with the joystick, kind of like Yeehee does. With
the Chaos, the Sky Car.
Yeah. What about Snow Wolf? Was Snow Wolf on the list at all? Did they
Didn't see it.
They didn't
Not
even
even
place. They didn't even place.
I
know a lot of people have Snow Wolves.
Yeah. Aspire wasn't even on there.
Aspire wasn't on there?
No.
Really? And they're doing a lot more now. They're actually putting out almost higher end stuff at better price points. Like the Mix. That's from Aspire.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're actually doing custom stuff now.
Yeah. So I don't know. So that's a hard poll because I just think you got a lot of everything sprinkled around.
Well, I mean, you were able to pick more than just one on there. That's why I figured that the options would flourish, but I didn't think that was really the case, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. When I see polls that have like the multiple choice options, I kind of feel like that muddies the water because the question is sort of specific. It's like, what's your favorite? Well, that if you can pick 7. How do we know what your favorite is?
Right. And apparently Mike's favorite is the clap mod.
The clap mod. Clap on. Clap off. Or vape on. Vape off. I sound like Wayne and Garth. Game on. Game off.
Well, we don't have a bumper to do, but if you want to start out with the news, Tim.
Yeah, we can switch to some news. We're 40 minutes in, so sure, we'll do some news.
We're in deep now, might as well.
Yeah. All right, so I cannot share my screen, everyone, which is a little unfortunate. And I know...
You're going by the links that we have, right? I don't think I can do it, but what I can do is I can put the links in the chats.
Yeah.
as you go.
Okay, so
Share screen.
yeah, just if you Brian, on your second monitor, go ahead and open up up the show notes, and all the links are right there.
Sure.
Well,
Got
they're
it.
really long and cumbersome, and got a lot of percentage signs and little letters and uppercase letters, and yeah, the URL is like super long. All right, so I got 3 stories for you guys tonight. I have no bumper. I have no screen sharing. This is uneventful the way that I'm combusting, so I will tap the papers to let you know that the news has started. So again, we have 2 regular news stories, and then we've got one advocacy one, which I think we can kind of have a conversation about at the end of all this. Hey, Colin, what's going on, man? So the first story that I had, and of course I'll be paraphrasing a little bit here, but there was a shop in Illinois, in Danbury, Illinois, that was busted for selling to underage people. So selling vape products to people under the age of 21. So a local Danbury, Illinois vape shop. Actually, in reality, it was like more like a head shop. It wasn't like a true blue pure vape store. So this kind of, I saw pictures of the store. You can look it up online. I'll give you the name. You can go on Yelp and leave them a bad review if you want. They're facing charges after being caught selling tobacco products to people younger than 21 during an undercover compliancy check. So in Illinois, that's alive and well. You have the cops going around conducting stings on vape shops to see if people are complying and selling legally. So the guy's name was Syed Al-Khazji. He's the owner of a establishment called the Cloud House, and he's being charged with 3 counts of illegal selling to products to individuals under the age of 21. And 2 of the people that he sold to were actually members of what's called the Danbury Police Explorers, which is a cadet program for the local youth. So if you want to, what do they call that? What's that thing where you can go and you can ride with the cops?
Ride along.
Ride along. So I guess it's like a ride along, and you can kind of get involved with your local law enforcement group, and then you can go around and help them with particular things. So they were sending kids into vape shops to see if they could buy vape products and if things would get sold to them. I can bring up the link and I'll read you some names here at the end, and I'll tell you. So Cloud House was one of 6 local vape and tobacco shops that were targeted in the operation carried out by the Danbury police. So they were not just targeting this one particular store. They were just randomizing to some degree. So, but they did this thing because multiple complaints were coming in about sales of selling the vape products to individuals under 21. Cloud House was the one that was most complained about. So I'm going to guess that the kids were getting busted, right? Because if the police are getting a complaint about that, how would they know unless parents are probably busting their kids with vape stuff and going, "Where'd you get that?" And they're like, "I bought it from here." And
Could have just been a routine compliance check too.
well, they're saying this particular sting and compliancy check was initiated because complaints were coming in about that particular head shop / vape shop. Mm-hmm. So not to say they wouldn't have done it at some time, but they specifically conducted this one because complaints were coming in about that shop.
Yeah, some Karen.
Yeah. So somebody was upset and decided to. And it also turns out that the Cloud House was, out of the 6, they were the only one that was not checking identification before selling the products to people. So that's a big no-no, right? You need the ID. So in the end, the owner was hit with $900 in violation fines, and the police will make recommendations to the state agencies that govern those types of stores. So that's not good for everyone else, right? Because you know how politicians can be. They'll take one grain of negativity and they will blow it up completely out of proportion. Bauskino, I like that name. That's a cool name. Bauskino with that golden glow. That's
Okay.
awesome. That's an awesome name.
Sounds like a really long name.
Yes, that's okay. Wordy's fine. I'm wordy, so I'm okay with wordy
No,
things.
hadn't
Yeah.
noticed.
All right, so following the investigation, the Danbury police gave shout-outs to other shops that fully complied with the law and did not get caught in the sting because of their diligence. And, as I always say, one bad apple spoils the bunch. But just so everyone knows, if you happen to live in Danbury, close to Danbury, or know these establishments, the 5 shops that they gave props to were the Danbury Smoke Shop on Federal Road, Resistance Vapor and Smoke Shop on Mill Plain Road, Twilight Vapor and CBD Shop on Hanestown Avenue, and the Smoking Samurai on White Street. And this one takes the cake. Butthead's Tobacco Emporium
Nice.
on Pandanaram Road all got shout-outs for basically doing the right thing, IDing and not selling to underage people. Now, the only thing that I could not glean out of the names of those, because I noticed that everybody seems to have some kind of a deviation from vape shop, or they have some combination of sorts going on, right? So you had Danbury Smoke Shop, Resistance Vapor and Smoke Shop, Twilight Vapor and CBD, and then Smoking Samurai, smoking, and Butthead's Tobacco. So I don't know which ones out of that group are actual pure vape stores or ones that are combination stores. But to wrap it up, the Danbury police intend to conduct more stings like this in the future. Shocker. So this was my takeaway from this particular article, and I'll just read it out because it's a little wordy. I said, shop owners, head shop or vape shop need to understand that the importance of their role in this community due to the looming legislation and anti-ants speak or anti-speak that's going on. They're a reflection of this industry, and I can understand their excitement for garnering customer base due to the looming online mail ban, but they need to be mindful of not setting any more poor examples of the community at large. And the only reason I bring that up is because I've had some conversations in the recent past about how people and I don't disagree with this outlook, but that C stores and smoke shops and things of that nature are partly responsible for why vaping is under a lot of scrutiny, because they're subject to selling to underage people a lot more frequently. And I will say that the possibility of that happening is true. Okay, I mean, the kids can get their stuff from there, maybe, other than a vape shop, which is usually carding you the moment you walk in the door, right? So the gatekeepers are different. I just don't think that C stores and smoke shops and places like this joint in Danbury, the Cloud, whatever they were called, Cloud House, I don't think that they're solely responsible for why things are the way that they are. And the reason why I say that is because that's not what you're hearing on the news. You know what I mean? You don't hear that in the conversation like, oh, we have to chop down on vaping because all these, small time stores are selling to underage kids. That's not the conversation. And that's also not what we're facing right now. Correct? I mean, we're facing an online vape mail ban. Right. If C stores were the problem, then we'd be shutting down vape shops. We wouldn't be shutting down online shipping. And data doesn't support the fact, surveys and or otherwise, doesn't support the fact that kids are buying that stuff from C stores. If you look at the percentages and the numbers, that's actually they're getting it from someone else, either friends and or relatives or brothers and sisters and maybe parents in some case, or somebody gives them one or whatever, and their online shopping, the online purchasing percentage is very low, and the C store purchasing is very low. So I just don't agree with that position that C stores are a big part of the problem. But if they do this shit, they're part of the problem. Anyhow, let's move on from that. I digress. The second article was about a organization called Action on Smoking and Health. You can better reference them as what's called ASH, A-S-H, ASH. And they've released an update on teen e-cigarette use in Great Britain. Now, I know this doesn't necessarily mean anything for the U.S., but I think I think it's relevant, right? So the report is reflective of the way Britain has had the confidence to embrace vaping and tobacco harm reduction because after 10 years of being on the market, there's in their survey studies, there is no evidence that shows a youth epidemic or that vaping is a gateway to smoking. Their particular reporting or their surveys have not shown that. Now, I'm going to read the bullet points that were in this so you guys can get some perspective on numbers. So their key finding, these are the key findings by ASH. So a large majority of the 11 to 18-year-olds have never tried or unaware of e-cigarettes. 83%. 83% of 11 to 18-year-olds have never tried or are unaware of e-cigarettes. That number has barely changed since 2017. So here we are 4 years later, and that 83% figure has not changed. Now, I don't know what the total number of people polled was or who the survey touched. 16.4% of 11 to 18-year-olds had ever tried vaping. Only 16% of 11 to 18-year-olds had ever tried it. Tried. Key underlined word, tried. Only 1.8% of young people used e-cigarettes more than once a week. 1.8%. Current use of e-cigarettes among 11 to 18-year-olds is higher among current smokers than ex-smokers, so dual usage. Current use of e-cigarettes among 11 to 18-year-olds is very low in never smokers. So the fad trendy thing of people who just don't vape, they're not picking it up. You know what I mean? They're not jumping on the bandwagon. 0.7% of never smokers between 11 and 18 are vaping. Children under 16 are less likely to try e-cigarettes than 16 to 18-year-olds. Only 7.8% of 11 to 15-year-olds had ever tried vaping or have ever tried it. Young people vape mainly just to give it a try, 49.8%. Not because they think it looks cool, which only 2.1% do it because it looks cool. They are unlikely to choose e-cigarettes because they are easier to access, 1%. They are unlikely to choose e-cigarettes because they are cheaper, 0.8% than tobacco cigarettes. The perception among young people that cigarettes and e-cigarettes are equally harmful has been increasing since 2013. The perception among young people that cigarettes and e-cigarettes are equally harmful has been increasing. All right, so they're getting scared. They think smoking's bad, but now they think vaping is bad too.
Right.
So they're avoiding it in general anyway. Only 42.8% of 11 to 18-year-olds in 2020 believed that e-cigarettes were less harmful than cigarettes. So less than half of 11 to 18-year-olds last year believed that e-cigarettes were less harmful than cigarettes. So the ant messaging is getting around. So it's an interesting point. The ASH report used the ASH Smoke-Free Great Britain survey of 11 to 18-year-olds between 2013 and 2020 used to examine the youth use of e-cigarettes. Now, overall, in Great Britain, vaping has been generally accepted since about 2010 when it took off. And now, 11 years later, ASH has yet to find evidence of a teen epidemic based on survey data results. According to ASH, as the vape market exploded in the first 5 years, independent owners, they're claiming this is why things didn't get out of control. So since vaping came onto the scene in Great Britain, in the first 5 years as it started to climb, independent owners and operators self-regulated at a very high level, allowing them to be prepared for the laws and regulations that were bound to come. So, kids were not getting this stuff from vape shops, and that's good. They shouldn't be getting it from vape shops. And then I gave myself a note to read a comment on the gateway theory. So this is what Ash's comment was, and this is a direct quote from them. Any notion of a gateway effect lies dead in the water, as Ash says. The overall trend in tobacco use over time in both adults and children has been downwards from 2010 onwards, when e-cigarette use became widespread among adult smokers and ex-smokers. So does that mean it's getting less popular, or people are getting more scared off?
So the more mainstream it gets, the more uncool it seems to kids.
That's true. I think a lot of things are like that, though. Once the fad, the honeymoon fad wears off, it's okay. We tried it, no big deal. Let's go back to Tide Pods.
I mean, isn't there going to be a time though where it's going to plateau? Like, say, the whole kids vaping thing, it's going to be a certain percentage that's going to, slowly go down. It's going to plateau at a certain point where there's always going to be some sort of, like, you can't stop them from doing it, but there's always going to be some kids that are going to be trying to skirt around the rules, trying to get what they can to try to use it. So it's going to plateau at a certain point, and there's no way you can just get rid of it. Just like everything else, there's still kids out there that drink. There's still kids out there that do drugs. There's still kids out there that do everything else.
Yeah. I just think that it's a lot of it was blown up to the point where it's been now used as a weapon. Mm-hmm. I think that there was probably a period of time, and I'm sure the numbers probably show it, that once kids caught wind of e-cigarettes and they started to become more advertised and kind of promoted as being this healthier than smoking alternative, and there were flavors. I don't doubt that some of that it played an impact in that world, but I'm sure when they saw, the incline of it, and they were like, oh, you can get a buzz and all this other stuff. Yeah, kids probably, there was a steep incline in usage, but then eventually, just like with a lot of things, the next thing comes along and you try something new.
Right.
So, I mean, we were all a little bit like that as kids growing up. And now here we are on the other side of that downslope, and we're still being punched in the gut with all this conversation about how there's this youth epidemic and kids are vaping all over the place. And, and now adults are getting ready to lose something that, they chose to quit smoking, Anyhow, my takeaway. Oh, one more comment. Ash conflicts U.S. reports that teens are terribly addicted to vaping, noting that their survey results show that 0.0% of current and never smokers say they are addicted, and only 0.8% of ex-smokers say they are addicted to vaping.
So you're saying that 1/100th of 1% is the ones that are saying that they're addicted.
Yeah, so according to people who are ex-smokers that currently vape, 0.8% are claiming that they're quote-unquote addicted to vaping, which means they have no long view about ever quitting, or they don't have quitting or ramping things down, in the short term. But I don't think I would ever say that I'm addicted to vaping. I enjoy vaping. Mm-hmm. Is it an addiction? I don't know.
Well, when I smoked, I would always tell people that I would never quit. It wasn't that I was addicted to it. It's just something that it helped me stress wise and stuff like that. Like that's why that's why I did it. It became more social thing for me. So I wouldn't say I was addicted, but at the same time, like you could still say that someone's addicted to it because they are always doing it. So I mean, that's.
Well, I think there's an addictive element to nicotine. Like caffeine would be addictive. If you drink coffee every morning, mm-hmm. Somebody would say, well, you're addicted to caffeine, or you drink 8 Red Bulls, in like an hour, Does anybody even do that anymore? I never did it. So I've done like 2 5-hour energy drinks in like an hour when I had to drive a really long way. Mm-hmm. And then I was awake for like the whole night. But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I think there's an addictive component to nicotine. I certainly believe that that's one of the big reasons why people continue to smoke. I don't think it's the harsh chemicals that are in them that cause people to stick with it. But like you, Brian, I agree. Like for me, smoking was like it took the edge off. It allowed you to relax. It was sort of like a stress release and stuff like that. And I think vape in some ways is a little bit of the same. You know what I mean? It's like when I don't have it, I don't like get edgy and grumpy and stuff. But you're like, I kind of want my vape. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't know.
I always look at it as I can go to the movies, a 2-hour movie. Now I'm fine. I'll sit through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Before, when I was a smoker, I couldn't make it 2 hours through a movie. I'm like, no, I need to go out and have a cigarette.
Yeah.
And a lot of that had to do with the chemicals that were in the cigarettes too. Like that's what it was. I mean that's just me. Like that's the way I felt now is I'm using far less nicotine than I was before.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just it is what it is.
So is it Boskino or Bauskino? But like I'm thinking of like the Big
Lebowski.
Lebowski. So if I pronounce it wrong, I apologize. So you started at 8 milligram, and now you're down to, which is impressive. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really sort of like the trajectory that everybody kind of like starts out with. I mean, granted, when we all first started, I think like the only thing that was on the market at the time was like 18, 24, 36, and up. So, I mean, that was how freebase was back then. You couldn't get 3 and 6 milligram unless you were cutting it your own, you're DIYing and maybe cutting it on your own. But I mean, I fluctuate between 3 and 6. So I've come down over the years, but I enjoy vaping. So I haven't really set like a target for myself. Like, okay, I'm on my way to flat out quitting.
Well, the thing is though, like if you go from a high milligram to a lower milligram, if you slowly wean yourself down there, your body is not going to have that instinctual like, oh, I need nicotine or I need this. Like you're tuning your body to that as you go down. It's just like anything else. Alcohol wise, I know some drugs are better to do that with than others. Some you just can't. I mean, it is what it is. With alcohol too, that's one thing is like if you can't just if you go from hard liquor to like to beer or something like that to slow down the alcohol in there, that does help. I'm not saying that you can't say an alcoholic is not gonna
he's back.
ever want it, but I mean
everyone stop talking.
Damn it.
Back.
What is that thing? Or when you can tell someone's talking about you? What is it? The ringing, right?
Your ears are ringing.
Yeah, your ears are ringing. That's it.
Yeah, but I agree. I agree with you, Brian. I think he talks about that part of his body a little too much, and he's too proud of it. And I'm willing to bet that he's overcompensating for actual. Well,
dimensions?
I won't say anymore. But I just wanted to
Actual
finish that
dimensions?
comment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So. Don't want to.
So what you're saying is that they got the T-shirt wrong, the size on the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he wears that shirt that says what it says, but he changes the leading term, to like bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah, he puts that word in front of his shirt. So for everyone knows, without John taking his clothes off again,
He's all
he
right.
has a shirt that says Vape God, and
Hashtag.
I think he replaces the first word with like bedroom.
Bedroom.
Bedroom God.
Puts a piece of tape over the vape.
So all right, so now I can share my screen because this one we've gotten to the most important one.
Yeah, sure.
Hey.
All right, so let's move on to this one. I'm going to share my screen since we have the ringleader here with us now.
Yeah, next week we'll have that taken care of.
Yeah, so just so
Brian,
everybody knows.
Did Mike?
Yeah, Brian will be able to log in and take control of the show next week if this ever happens again.
Since we've been following our grand leader John Troncali, he's convinced us that the UFOs are going to come take us away in a couple years.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
our cult is alive and well.
Fun fact: apparently, the CIA just released like a whole bunch of documents that actually claim that UFOs are real now. So
it's a
The
distraction.
Pentagon did that like last year too.
it was on BBC actually.
Yeah, the Pentagon did that last year.
Yeah. So
All right. So let's go into our advocacy article. This one is kind of important. I don't know what impact all this will mean at the end of it, because I really don't think that that the Postal Service can really do anything to specifically change what's going to happen, because they're under basically federal regulation at this point. But numbers matter, stories matter. So I want to talk a minute about the USPS and what everybody knows as, you know, the vape mail ban that's getting ready to kind of come down the pike, right? So as it stands right now, USPS is going to be the first one to fall off the map. So as of March 27th, USPS will now enact their new rules, which this article talks about, regarding the handling of vape mail. And then beyond them, FedEx and UPS are going to fall like dominoes, right? So FedEx is going to go as of March 1. Am I right? March 1.
I thought one was April 1.
And that's UPS.
Okay.
So March 1, FedEx is off. March 27th, USPS is off, and then UPS, the brown, will be done as of April 1. So you have a window of time. But this is an important article because right now there's open commentary. Public commentary is welcome now for the posting of the new rules regarding how USPS will handle vape mail with regard to how it's going to be handled in the United States, at any rate. So interested parties will have 30 days to comment on the rules for mailing of e-cigarette products, better known as ENDS. They are revising publication 52 to incorporate new statutory restrictions on the mailing of ENDS. People don't know what ENDS stands for. Electronic Nicotine Delivery Systems. That's what ENDS stands for.
We should be using that instead of vape. That's just me, though.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before. I agree. I think because we use the word vape, and it's used back and forth with THC vaping. It kind of pulls it all together, and whatever's said about THC vaping, reflects back down to us. Effectively, this adds verbiage regarding vaping to the list of rules, and because of the omnibus bill that is now going to prohibit them from business to consumer shipments from online vape shops. So I want to read the rules. This is what they're going to add. I'll zoom in for you.
I was just going to ask you if you can zoom in.
Yes.
Hey, Tim, can you zoom in, Tim?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, is that better? Is that better?
Looks pretty good.
All right, so non-contiguous states, intrastate shipments within Alaska or Hawaii. So what does that mean?
Alaska, that's everything.
Well, non-contiguous states,
Yeah, that would be-
intrastate shipments within Alaska or Hawaii.
Yeah, intrastate is shipping within Alaska or shipping within Hawaii. Everything else would be in the lower 48.
Okay. Business regulatory purposes. Shipments transmitted between verified and authorized tobacco industry business for business purposes. Yeah. Businesses. Hold on. Let me reread that. I was distracted by Johnny Cash.
Well, he's telling the article that. He's not
Okay,
telling
well,
me.
I get it. Can you take him down for a minute?
Oh, you can't
Thank
see
you.
it? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Oh, okay.
Thank you. Business regulatory purposes. Shipments transmitted between verified and authorized tobacco industry business for business purposes or between such businesses and federal or state agencies for regulatory purposes. What that means is B2B shipments will still be possible.
Right.
So and DHL, Lisa, has kind of been off they already kind of had a no nicotine policy, although
Well,
they can it still happens, although they do have that published. But the microscope is going to be on them more now that it's become amplified everywhere else. Okay. But that just means B2B shipments will still be able to happen. So vape suppliers, wholesale distributors, whatever, are going to still be
shops.
Yeah, they can send to shops. So you can still go to your local shop and you can get things you need. Just be aware that shops have a markup. And so they have to pay for employees and lights and water and anything else that constitutes taxes they have to pay. There's going to be a natural markup to products in vape stores.
Right. Well, with that one, so right now, there is stuff with this one that you're just talking about. There's actually stuff going on right now to where the distros and stuff are getting all the people that they send out to, all their names and addresses and all that stuff, and putting them all in like a file. So this way, if the government comes back to them like, hey, you're sending this out to so and so, they're like, no, this is actual business. Here's their stuff. We're actually doing everything legit. So the industry itself is trying to work with all these rules and regulations for them to make sure that everyone does get the stuff.
Right.
So the whole industry is trying to work together with everything. Like I've been in contact with quite a few of them, and like they are, there's forms that we all fill out for everything, and to help everyone get their stuff.
Right.
Yeah, Lisa, that might happen, but we're hoping it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? And the vape shops realize this is an opportunity.
Yeah, we can chat about that at the end. Certain individuals, lightweight shipments mailed between adult individuals limited to 10 per 30-day period. That is vague to me. Certain individuals, that means only particular individuals who are probably on file that are allowed to receive things for testing or review. Like, for example, I know for a fact that the next one kind of addresses it, consumer testing. Limited shipments of cigarettes sent by verified and authorized manufacturers to adult smokers for consumer testing purposes. And probably certain people who are licensed that they need to receive particular tobacco products. And so I'm sure they're probably somebody who's on file with them knowing that they're allowed to receive these particular things.
Actually, here's a question about that one. The consumer testing one is, couldn't the people who have online shops who do send out to regular customers, couldn't they say this is for our test and then make sure that they get a review from that?
You'd have to put your customers on a list to be considered a consumer tester.
Yeah, everything is going to be governed by lists. I mean, they're going to be watching this all very, 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 very closely. Mm-hmm. Will this be more regulations due to people having trouble shipping e-juice like wire? My opinion on wire and cotton and especially people in the rebuildables game, I think a lot of those products can real quickly go nondescript, right? Because wire is used, like the wire that's used in vaping is used for all different kinds of things outside of vaping. So, as long as specific, calling it fire vaping wire or something like that, like marketing it specifically to the vaping community. I think
toaster heating element wire.
Like sell it like that. Sell it under. And the same thing would apply to the DIY market, right? Because VG, PG flavorings, things of that nature, can be in bakery products and food products and things like that. So you could, it would look suspect.
Well, what's his name? What did he say last week, or was it a couple of weeks ago?
Yosh?
John from Saddle Horse Blues. It is a part to fix another part, so you can list it as
replacement parts.
Replacement parts. Yeah.
Coils are replacement parts.
Right. Now, in terms of, again, I mean, that could somehow let, you're right, Lisa, not the nicotine. I mean, that's the cog in the wheel. Yeah. That really is the major cog in the wheel. And I've heard some discussions about that too, like how people could potentially get to the nicotine. Say, for example, people in the DIY distribution thing, allowing vape shops to be sort of like third-party distro for them. Right. And shipping the nicotine to local vape shops, and then people could go in and pick up stuff at their local vape shops, But how, and vape shops will get in on it because they're going to be like, well, I don't want to do it unless we, kind of get something out of the gig. So, I don't know what this all means. I don't think any of us will really know until, exactly. That's what I'm saying is I think things that can real quickly go nondescript will go nondescript. The thing that's going to be hard to do is get branded e-liquids, that you're used to, like Jam Monster and High Drip and stuff like that. That's going to be the harder one to get around because that's all PMTA stuff, and it would look very suspect if all these companies that filed with filed their PMTAs, all of a sudden they're filing Chapter 11 and going under and rebranding and doing all this weird stuff. I think they have to be mindful of their approach to try to find ways around the process.
Well,
but
go ahead. Not to interrupt, but the government kind of screwed us as an industry because first they hit the industry with the PMTA stuff, and now they're hitting us with this.
Yeah, they're chipping away at the stone.
You're kind of screwed if you do, screwed if you don't. At this point, it's how much lube do you want before they fuck you in the ass?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is that, like, a lot of people like saying like, oh, just go DIY and you'll be fine, blah blah. Thing is though, like, you won't be able to get your nicotine.
Right.
Like, it comes as its own separate component. You will not be able to get the nicotine. You might be able to get everything else, but not the nicotine. And everyone's like, oh, no, it'd be fine. We could just get nicotine. I'm like, no, you won't. That's what Tim, you were saying is that's the kicker right now is the nicotine part.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's why a lot of people are being encouraged to go. I mean, if you want to, Lisa, you can certainly get into the DIY market now. There's plenty of websites out there. All the Juices is a site where you can find up to 10,000 different recipes, and there's a place called the Liquid Barn where you can get all your flavorings, all your PG, your VG, your nicotine strengths, and and you can find plenty of information. And while you have this window right now, I recommend people look at those sites as a potential route for you, especially people who live in areas that don't have vape shops near them. You're not going to have that convenient outlet, even if you're willing to spend the money at the vape shop. You just, how are you going to get to one that's 2 hours away? So all the flavors, that's the website, Lisa. All the flavors. There's 10,000 premium blend recipes on there that you can get. Like, you might even be able to find stuff that you really like right now that you can make on your own, like a replica of it. And then Liquid Barn is one of the vendors, and they have a great FAQ section on DIY and mixing, how to store nicotine, yada 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 yada. And they have full-on kits, like full-blown starter kits that you can buy that come with the bottles and scales and
everything
the whole
you need.
nine. Yeah, everything you need to kind of kick yourself off. And then beyond that, bottles will be easy to. I mean, they can't stop bottles. They can't stop. Mixing syringes. They can't stop. Things that are obviously irrelevant. And then again, like things like batteries. They can't stop batteries.
Go Philly. South Philly here, Lisa. South Philly.
Yeah.
But I have a buddy of mine that works for the post office, and he says he doesn't see how they're even going to be able to do this. I mean, there's other than their machine picking up a name that is going to be in their system that reads as a vape shop or a vape company is even going to be hard. He said he doesn't understand how it's even going to work, other than like he said, most of the vape shops that are selling or these online websites, of course, they don't go to the post office. Maybe some of the smaller ones do, but most of the time the post office comes to them.
Yeah.
So it picks up packages, once a week, every 3 days, or every day.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were to actually go into the post office and drop off packages without saying, "Hey, we are this vape shop," the post office wouldn't be able to keep track of any of that.
Right.
Any of it. It said it'd be virtually impossible. And I mean, you think about how many packages go through the post office. But again, it's an inconvenience for maybe some of. I could just imagine some of these websites what their mail is daily.
Mm-hmm.
So
they would need dedicated runners just to
just a guy that just runs to the post office.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of people have been thinking this whole thing through, and the only thing that I would say about USPS is, I mean, they're highly automated too, and so you typically when you ship with USPS, you have an account, right? And all that account information is sort of included in there. So when a barcode is scanned, it knows who it's coming from and who it's going to. And I'm sure they're going to try to probably stop a significant portion of it just based on source, where it's actually coming from. So despite a human walking in and dropping off the packages, the account is still on file. Yeah. Right, because I got to bill somebody for the postage because they're probably going to pre-label all of those packages before they drop them off using one-click shipping or whatever you use. And so they're going to know. They're going to have probably like a a no-fly list, right? Like they do with the TAA,
Airlines.
the airlines.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're going to be like, oh, all these get auto pushed right off the line. The OCR readers will just kick it off, and then you got issues because here's the gist, gang, right? The PACT Act that all these vape shops and online vendors have to, especially ones who intend on shipping, have to file with have to register with the Attorney General per the PACT Act. This basically gives them the leverage to continue to ship vape products.
Right.
That's what the PACT Act just means. We're going to watch you closely, and you have to follow a bunch of rules, but you can ship these products. But where we get killed is that the carriers go, we're not going to carry it.
Yeah.
So it one cancels out the other.
Yeah.
Cigarettes and things like that can still be shipped if you register for the PACT Act. A lot of businesses just don't want to register for the PACT Act. They don't want to pay the extra fees and filing costs and the maintenance that goes with it because they have to keep all of the customer base on file. They have to submit that all to the government, and they just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's like we can do it, but no, we can't because the carriers are basically pulling the rug out from underneath anybody who really wants to sign up for PACT and go forward with it. So I'm sure something will come out in the wash. I'm sure that not every shipment will get flagged through USPS. But my take on this is that you can't rely on whataboutism, or the possibility that it can still happen. And companies who are willing to ship and take that risk, if they get busted shipping, then they're going to have to, they could go to jail. They could be subject to federal charges now. And I don't know that any business wants to openly risk their business taking on federal, charges. Yeah. So in the end, this whole article is about our opportunity, if you want, and I'm going to scroll down here a little bit more. I'm not going to talk much more about it. I think it was all pretty self-explanatory. Where'd my mouse go? Hey, mouse. Come back, where's my mouse, man?
Ask Alexa.
All right, there. No, it's here. Hold on. I'm gonna do this is old school tech.
Turn it on.
Turn it off.
Are you taking the ball out?
No, taking the ball so I can get the dust. So I can get the dust bunnies
Then
off.
you're not going old school, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Mike, and then that's the whole thing, right? I mean, prohibition just drove people to drinking underground and making their own concoctions and stuff like. There you go, a drone cat. Drone cats will save us.
I would shoot that.
Drone cats will save us. But if you can see this, guys, there's an email address down here, PC Federal Register at USPS.gov. If you want to submit your story, if you want to throw any commentary into the United States Postal Service, explain how this change is going to impact you. And remember, this isn't just about you. This is about the whole entire community. This is about everybody collectively. I've had some ideas and some thoughts about to get around this. Some people have thrown out the idea that vape companies or particular people who can establish this would start opening up, basically like, distro warehouse, like distro third-party houses, where they're not like a typical vape shop, right? Like they don't have the storefront, like, with the fancy couches and the nice glass display cases. They're just basically like this nondescript building that allows business to business e-liquid, and vape product shipping to those places, and then you could go and pick your order up there. It came in, you can stop on by and pick it up, or they start running a courier service out of there, like a what do you call that effing thing? Like Uber Eats or what's like DoorDash for vaping, where like you can get it delivered to your. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying those are ideas that people are talking. I had an idea myself about people who this only really addresses people in areas that just flat out don't have vape shops around. I'm not talking about the people that have like a vape shop 15 minutes away or 20 minutes away. But people who live in like rural areas or areas where they just don't have vape shops, no one ever set one up. Yeah. I was suggesting that you go down to your local cash and carry or your convenience store that's attached to your gas station or something like that, because you're gonna have that, right? And talk to the managers of those places and see if they wouldn't be open to potentially maybe carrying a small line of e-liquids, that you need to, like, they're not going to stock like Vupu mods and Vaporesso pod mods and stuff like that, but like at least maybe try to talk them into carrying a handful of things that you would like to be able to get your hands on, because those are B2B tobacco licensed sellers. They can get it shipped to them. So, that's a potential idea to maybe get someone closer to you to carry things like that. So I don't know. There's a million what ifs, right? I'm just
Brian,
saying.
can you put that link, please, for the website? I know you put it on earlier, but let's put it back on the chat again for the to register. Do your comments for the post office.
Exactly, Lisa. USPS don't want to deal with that hassle.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to, is that these companies are just flat out knee-jerk reaction stepping out because their lawyers sat down with the CEOs and the CFOs and CIOs and all that stuff and said, if you guys fuck up and it gets out to the news because you didn't get an ID check or some kid duped you with a fake ID or something happened, we could have lawsuit, civil suit city on our butts. And we just don't want to deal with that as repercussions. And Toasty, I'll have to look into that. I don't. Yeah, I'll just go to the AVA website and read up on that. And he's on Twitter too, so he's pretty vocal. He talks about stuff all day long, so I'll follow through on that. But
on that note, Lisa, my buddy works for the post office. He's been there for 25 years. The problem is there's a lot of us that use drop boxes and don't, like Tim has to go to his mailbox to get it. It's just they don't want, not that they're lazy, they just don't want to have to deal with getting a signature. They like being able to pull up in their cars, open the box, throw it in there, and now they would have to literally go to your door, knock on it, get you, hope that someone's there, and then we know what happens. Most of the times we're not home, and then the post office gets those phone calls bitching that they didn't get their package, and now they got to come to the post office, and logistics is just not going to work out.
Yeah, and I think also too, we live in a very unique time period where I think companies are mindful of COVID, right? Because you already have essential workers out on the front line. COVID has not gone away. Yes, vaccines are around, but I mean, what's the likelihood of your local postal carrier coming to your door and getting a signature from you, right? Because what if, because companies don't want to deal with workman's comp, and like, let's just say one of their carriers got COVID from, I mean, you could do that with USPS too. Like I have an annex right around the corner where like my local post office brings it to me, but if I'm not around, they send it back to this annex and I have to drive about 1.5 miles away and go pick it up there. And they could ID you there and hand you the package. I mean, they tell you now, like when you go to pick up something and you got the little pink slip.
Yeah, you get that
they tell you to have your ID ready because they want to make sure that you really are the person that is in possession of that pink slip. Do they ever check that ID? No. They just give me this stupid package and I go on my merry way after I've complained and yelled the whole way there, like, why can't you just bring it back? So anyway, that's that. If you want to share your story with USPS, I don't think you should send them some scathing email like F you, USPS, and F the government. They probably won't read those. So I would say use measured tones and share your story and talk, but numbers matter. So that's it. That's the news, and I've gone over. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, with being angry, I mean, that's fine too. I mean, that kind of leads us into Tom a little bit too.
Wait, we had a plan?
Apparently. It wasn't really a plan. It was kind of,
I thought we were just winging it.
Tim was more rah, rah, rah. I'm like, that's perfect for Tom. Maybe it's just me.
Well, not
no, you're fine, Jeff. Jeff, you're good, bro. I mean, like, you'll be able to get to the local vape shop. The difference will be is the markups that will come with it being a vape shop. And my hope is that if vape shop owners are well aware of the fact that they're getting ready to, reap the winds of profit, that they'll cut out some of the behavior that they use now where they make max profit on that bottle of juice, because they will be your local place to get things, and they'll and they have to consider people's budgets. Not everybody is going to come to their shop to pay $25 for a 60 ml bottle. That's just not a reality.
Right, and it's more going to affect people like me who have to drive an hour to my closest vape shop because I live in the sticks. I can't go just two blocks over and I'm at a vape shop.
Yeah, well, that's the difference. Like where me and you live, Tom, is we're more spread out. So like we don't live in a big city. We don't, a vape shop isn't just around the corner for us. It's
right.
We really have to drive. Like my hometown, I literally had to drive an hour or two to, go somewhere.
I think that's your baseline, Lisa. You definitely need the nicotine. And just so you know, if you go on like all the flavors and these things, there's like a calculator. They have calculators built in under the mix thing, and you basically just punch in the numbers like what blend do you want to make, and how strong do you want it to be, and it'll tell you how much of each flavoring to use, how much you want to do a 70-30 or a 50-50 or whatever, and they'll tell you exactly what you need to mix. And to Derek's point,
also,
I think Derek's right in the sense that it is an excuse, but companies will continue to use that excuse. We can't get them to back out of their excuse. They're going to say we aren't going to do it because of COVID, even though a bunch of us go, it's a bunch of BS. Like, you're really going to get COVID that quick if you just have me sign and walk away. You're right. Probably the chances are low.
Well, the easiest way to do it is they walk up, set it down with whatever that you got to sign. They tell you sign right there. They back up, you walk up, you sign it, you take your thing, set that, whatever you had to sign back down. You each go your separate damn way.
Yeah. Yeah, the crux of it is the fact that they need to validate the age, that they need to see your ID. It's not just the signature.
Take one look at all of us here. You can tell we're very clearly well over 21.
Are you trying to say I look old?
Hey, I just turned 28.
I'm saying we all look old. Deal with it.
Are you calling me fat?
I'm not talking about your shirt, John.
This is a new color. They haven't named it yet. It's a new color.
It's called Old People Gray.
A lot of shops are here in my town too, Toasty. They are starting to hire a lot of people. They're getting ready for that flux of people coming in to buy product. And like we talked about, hopefully it's they don't go for the money grab and maybe make a little bit of an adjustment in price wise as far as what they're charging now, just to make up the day. I mean, volume is volume, so take advantage of it, and don't gouge us. But you got an opportunity. The $28 for 60 mils is not going to fly with your average vapor. If he's now having to go into the vape shop and he hears $28 for 60 meg, I'm not sure every vape shop wants to deal with every single customer coming in saying, well, I used to get it, because that's what they're going to hear. They don't want to hear it. So hopefully they make some sort of an adjustment and say, hey, we got to, let's go, 22, 23, try to keep it right within that price margin, because most of the big brands, a 60 mil is still probably right around $20, $20 to $23 on your big name brands. I think even Barista is, $22.50 for a 60 mil online. I think, and some of the other big brands are right around that. Keep it there. Maybe charge a couple dollars more, but 28, that's not going to fly. 28 is not going to fly with the majority of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's going to be ludicrous to think that every customer is just going to walk in and happily hand over that much money for something that they're just going to end up having to come back for in a short period of time. They're just going to be like, they're going to laugh, they're going to laugh and be like, no way I'm paying that.
Well, this is an opportunity to get a return customer. Now, I mean, that's why you get into businesses. You run a business to make money. I get that, but you also need the returning customer, and this is an opportunity to get that guy that only purchased online to come into your shop finally now and to look around. And who knows? Maybe he's going to buy a mod. Maybe he's going to buy a tank. Maybe he needs coils. So it's not that he's just going to come in for his juice. You have an opportunity to sell all your products now to a base that was basically buying everything online. I mean, shit. Let's do it right here, right now. Tim, last time you in a vape shop?
Like eons. I went to like a promo gathering thing they had. I have one like not even 10 minutes away. I'm just not a vape shop guy. I just don't. I feel a little uncomfortable and weird in those places because I'm not in with the clique and all that. And to be honest, I went in the one night that I did go in there. I started talking to the guys behind the counter, and like I was speaking some foreign language to them. Like they didn't even know what I was. I've never heard of squonking, and I'm like, okay, I'm going back home because clearly no. And it's not about the people. I'm not calling them dumb, but I just feel like vape shops just didn't work a little bit behind in some ways. They just weren't carrying all the things that you were familiar with. I mean, because the internet brings you everything. So somebody asked, what other places are out there? Dude, just go on Google and type in nicotine suppliers. Chemnovatic, Liquid Barn, Liquid Nicotine Wholesalers, River Supply. I heard that's one. Nicotine Giant, Nick Select. The thing you're going to be contending with are people stocking up on nicotine right now. Everyone's stocking up on nicotine, so got to get moving.
Brian, last time you were in a vape shop?
Probably 6 months ago.
6 months ago. Yeah. Tom, you?
I think Obama was in office.
Who was in office?
No, it's been probably 3 years.
When Obama was in office. That was the last time Tim was. Tom was. Now let me ask you this question: did you buy anything, Tim?
No, I didn't, because I looked at the price tag and I can go online and get 3 of those for the price of your one.
How about you, Brian?
And that's no slight.
I got friends that work at shops, so I'll go in there and visit with them.
You went for social call.
Yeah, I might buy a bottle of liquid here and there to help support them, but I don't buy a whole lot of stuff anymore as I used to.
Yeah.
The most I did that night was knuckle test their back office e-liquids that they were making.
How about you, Tom? When Obama was in office?
Yes, I did buy a bottle of liquid.
Yeah. I try to go in once a week, and it's just to kind of like Brian said, just a social, just to say hi, see what's going on, how business is. But here with COVID, it's basically me and him standing on the sidewalk 6 feet apart from each other, kind of bullshit because you can't go inside. So it kind of sucks. But yeah, what is this the Derek Fireboy? Yes. Is it Fireboy?
It's the bearded wonder.
Set everything on fire.
Yeah, the bearded. Good Lord, pure liquid nicotine, $400 for a liter.
Yeah, the pure stuff. Yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah. That's 1,000 milligrams per milliliter.
And then keep in mind, guys, don't go buying 6 years supply of nicotine because it only lasts 2 years. So just remember that.
Even with freezer storage, you can't be guaranteed it's going to last. You'll read things online that it can last up to 10 years in the freezer.
No. 2 is about average.
Your flavors you can get away with. That can last for who knows what the shelf life is on just the flavor itself. But your nicotine, you're going to have about a 2-year shelf life. So, everyone's kind of like, oh, they're going to go after nicotine next. They're going to make us get a license to purchase nicotine. That's a possibility. And I get why some people want to go and buy nicotine in bulk. But keep in mind, how much e-liquid can you really vape?
Right.
Oh, T-Mac, I just revised the search. Put in Google DIY vape suppliers. There's a place called DIY Vapor Supply, nickvape.com.
You will still quote us.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you Google the phrases, I guarantee you'll find it. So
yeah. But everybody lauds Liquid Barn because they say you can get really good high quality nicotine from them and all that other stuff. So I just go to that one first.
That's a thing too. You may not, who knows what your favorite e-liquid is buying their nicotine supply from. So there is a taste difference, there is a throat burn difference. There's a couple things that are different. So I would, if you're going to buy nicotine and you're buying nicotine for the first time, try to buy a small supply of it first, test it out, see if it's something you like, because you notice it. Sometimes you get a throat hit on some certain e-liquids that you don't get from other ones. So just, a lot of it comes down to the quality of the nicotine and where you're getting it from. So I would buy small amounts. If you're going to start that DIY stuff and I would buy a small amount of nicotine and try it. See if you're getting the satisfaction you were getting from one of your name brand e-liquids, because you might not enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because some is harsh. Some is really, really harsh.
And for the record, I mean, if you spend enough time, out in the community talking to people, there are quite a few DIYers, like people that actually make and sell juice that are active and intend on remaining active, and they'll like rename. There's code words now, and they call their e-liquids things like scented oils and stuff like that, just to sort of like distract from the idea that it's e-liquid, right?
Yeah, but calling it oils is not going to be good.
Right.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
then in that route too, just be careful, guys, who you're buying it from. That's all.
Yeah, make sure you're.
If you're going to go black or gray market, make sure it's somebody you know and that you trust.
Yeah. And if you can visit where they're making it, go check it out. That may surprise you. That may change your mind why you don't want to buy it. Just
If they say, let's go to my bathtub, no.
Yeah, if they've got like 35 cats, just walk away. Just walk away.
Or 6 bottles of Cheerios sitting on their desk. 16 Red Bulls.
Yeah, like the dude smells like he hasn't changed his clothes in like 10 days, and his pupils are dilated to the size of quarters,
and he keeps going like this.
Yeah, he's scratching a lot. Yeah,
just no.
We've been down. Everyone
that's a no for me, dog.
We've been down that road. We've been down that road. Some very big names have been busted for having some shady little, let's just say, work areas,
subpar work conditions in their lab.
Yeah, just keep in mind it's not.
Tiki?
It's not going to be OSHA standard. It's not going to be OSHA standard, but at least you want some standards. You know what I mean?
Right.
At least the guy takes at least 5-10 minutes to wash his hands, has a little bit of a clean area. And then again, you might have been buying juice from that guy for years. I mean, there's a lot of people that have never bought a bottle of e-liquid from a store, from an online site, have just been getting it from a buddy that's been making it for it's the beginning. There's quite a few people that I know a couple of them that never bought a bottle of e-liquid from anybody because they've fell in love with their buddy's brand or what they made. There was
their buddy's liquid line, and they're good.
Yeah. Right. He's getting he's getting away with getting like a 60 mil for $12 from him, and he's making a little money.
I mean, just to bolster the whole thing that we're talking about, I think that this is a reasonable time to really start tapping into the community and asking a bunch of questions from a lot of different people about a lot of different things. And
are you sure about that, Mike?
I don't know, Mike. I mean, maybe an 8-year-old.
I have a 7-year-old grandson. I've seen him play with Play-Doh. I don't know if I want him to
I don't know about 7, maybe 8.
That's
seven on the cusp of 8 is okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get your little bottle. You got all kinds of shit floating around in there.
Little chunks of glitter and Play-Doh, and you're like,
got a pencil eraser in there.
Like it's totally okay with me if that 7-year-old is using bendy straws to transfer the nicotine into the bottle.
Absolutely.
I mean, he sticks it in and puts his finger over the top of the straw and then pulls it out, and then definitely. I'm okay with that.
At 7, I've seen my 7-year-old try to make Kool-Aid, and I'm like, no, you don't need that much sugar. He just took the whole thing of sugar. He took the 1-pound bag of sugar and just dumped the whole thing into the thing. I go, no, it's close though. It's probably pretty close to 1 pound of sugar in there, but it's not quite 1 pound of sugar for one package.
Yeah, 3/4 pound.
Just eyeball it. He just eyeballs everything. What do you want? Like a mango peach? Just eyeball it. Just eyeball it. Just free pour. Like at the bar, you just free pour and
a hard count in your head.
Yeah,
like a 3/4.
Yeah, and the bottle e-liquid will be jammed inside Play-Doh. You have to get the bottle out of the Play-Doh, so you got to remove all the Play-Doh from the shell of it to get.
You want that sure doesn't break or nothing.
I'm shipping Play-Doh worldwide.
Yeah, if your e-liquid is separated in the bottle, like you actually see like the nicotine below, like the fruit line, or whatever flavor line.
Mississippi Kool-Aid.
Then it's basically a science experiment.
I'm with you, Derek. I've asked him to get me a glass of water. It seems never to be full, and there's always shit floating in it. So,
Not good.
no, they're good
Not
for
good.
certain things. They're good for getting your beers out of the refrigerator. Let's see what else. Snacks, closed snacks. Nothing open. I don't trust my
Yeah.
grandson getting me anything that's already opened. Nor would I
Yeah.
trust him bringing me something that's already opened.
Or switching you on to Blippi and Peppa Pig. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
what 6 and 7-year-olds are great for.
Yeah. I've watched more Nickelodeon in my life than I want to admit. I'm done with Nickelodeon and Cartoon. Not so much Cartoon Network, because they do play some of the old stuff that we still love to watch, but that's getting to a point where we can't even see that stuff anymore because it was too violent, Tim. Bugs
Yeah.
Bunny. Yeah,
Yeah.
running around shooting bugs. Can't have kids running
I
around.
grew up watching Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, and I've never wanted to blow anything up with dynamite
I'm still trying to
or
find
strap
that.
my ass to an Acme rocket.
Yeah, but
Pretty
there's,
sure
learn.
the average citizen can't buy dynamite.
yeah,
Yeah.
You'd be
No,
surprised.
you have to find the Acme warehouse. Once you find the Acme warehouse, you can
Yeah.
purchase
I
anything
don't trust
you
a
need.
damn thing in that warehouse. I've seen what happens. Their shit
Speaking
don't
of-
work.
right?
Lisa made me have a memory for a hot second because I remember and I'm sure John probably did this too.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brian might have missed the boat on this one. I don't know. I would know Brian's personality, so there's a good chance that he did. When we were in elementary school. No, she just said she used to eat Play-Doh. Okay, you know what we ate in elementary school was
Paste?
the Elmer's glue paste. Like
Paste.
it came in like a jar and had a paddle.
Yeah.
Kind of like the cheese snacks things you get
Like a
had like a little
popsicle in
paddle,
reverse.
and it was like a flat orange paddle, and it was literally like a friggin' like lard. It was like lard, and you'd stick it in, and it smelled like mint. It actually smelled like mint, and we would take it out and eat. We were eating friggin' glue in elementary school. And they probably took Elmer's paste glue off the market because, of course, the kids, we had to ruin it for everybody. Now there's some old person in a retirement home somewhere like cursing us because Elmer's paste went into prohibition and he couldn't get it for the rest of his life. Yeah.
Oh, well, we're the generation that ate paint chips though too. So don't
explains
forget
so much.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it took 20 years
No,
later
Derek.
to tell us, oh, guess what? Those paint chips had lead in it. Oh, thanks. All right.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just talking about the aspect of the fact that we were putting an adhesive in our mouths and consuming that. Now, nowadays, they just spray it on their head.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's how we've progressed since I was like
it looks just
8.
like the can. It looks just like the can, Tim. It looks just like the can of hairspray, man.
Exactly.
But I mean, like we talked about this, we're the generation. This new world, we have boxes, we have toilet paper with instructions on it, guys. I mean, that's how this is where we've gone. We actually need instructions. Toilet paper.
On laundry detergent that says "Do not eat."
Do not eat. Do not eat, and this is how you wipe your ass. It
Yeah.
even shows you how to fold the toilet paper so you don't use too much of it. So
I've
That's
never
well-
been that bored to look at my toilet paper wrapping that much.
We live in a green world now, John.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to conserve.
No,
So you get
but
that
the
extra.
bear in the commercial does it.
There is something on my list about toilet paper today.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's right. Tom's got his
Yeah,
cheese off
and
there.
wait,
We should
Let's
do
jump
that.
into it right now. There, here we give you Tommy Boy. Hold on there, buddy. There you
Do
go.
you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Alrighty then.
I love that. That's my
Same.
favorite. That's my favorite
All
promo.
right. It's
Take a
been
deep
a
breath.
week.
Take a deep breath.
I got 11.
11. Jesus Christ,
11.
you've been pissed off this week.
You just got to.
I've just been thinking.
Uh-oh.
All right, let me take a
Take
sip
a
of my
sip.
tasty beverage.
This
There
is
you
gonna be
go.
a good one then.
Take a deep breath. Let it all out. Get it all out tonight.
Number
Before we
one,
Go back to work tomorrow.
using your phone while talking to someone. So, like, if you're in a face-to-face conversation and you pull out your phone and start fucking with it, I will hit you. I will.
Throat punch.
That is just rude. Fuck your phone. You're having a conversation.
Yeah,
Your phone.
Tom's talking right now. I don't know what he's doing.
This happens on many date nights across America.
It does. And I have a rule about that. If I'm on a date with someone and they pull out their phone during the date's over, I will leave. I don't care if we just ordered and we're waiting for the food to show up. I'm out.
Yeah.
And I won't even care. She can figure out how to get home, how to pay the bill, whatever. I don't care.
Uber.
Not my problem. I'm gone.
Okay.
Number 2.
Good point.
Bad audio.
Not on this fucking show, you bastard.
No, not here anymore.
Okay, elaborate on bad audio.
Well, we've all heard it on the show with some of our guests where their audio is just garbage.
Yeah.
Or just you're talking to somebody on the phone and their phone audio is just trash. Shut up, Derek. Don't be a dick.
Okay, yeah, bad audio. That's bad. It's bad.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Wearing too much perfume or cologne. Take a shower. Use soap. Perfume and cologne are not. They're supposed to enhance how you smell, not cover your stink.
All right. So for my own, So for my own personal notes, if I'm like 3 days in, no shower, take a shower. Don't use cologne or
use
perfume.
Right, or like Axe body spray.
Yeah, can I elaborate on that one too, Tom?
Take a whore bath if you need to. Wash your pits and ass crack with a damn rag in a sink for all I care.
Don't worry, everybody. I don't try to go. I don't go 3 days with no shower.
Yeah,
that was a complete hypothetical.
Yeah, sure. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I'll add to that. Those people that are out there that think they can use natural remedies for deodorants, it doesn't fucking work.
No, it doesn't.
I just want to get that out there. Go ahead, Tom.
You just stink, just like nature.
Yeah.
Just don't drop it.
Yeah,
right. Don't drop the soap.
That's the instructions. Right. Don't drop it.
So Tom, you're telling me that bath in a can isn't actually bath in a can?
Right.
That is just disturbing. That is just disturbing.
Soap on a rope.
There's so much that can go wrong with this one. With the third one. Number 4, using all caps or alternating capital letter, lower letter when you're typing. That annoys the piss out of me.
How about if you want to emphasize that word? You just want to just put the colons there instead of just putting it all in caps? Would that make you happy? Okay.
Well, it's interpreted as yelling when you're all caps.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But, Tom, for your information, there is a condescending thing in the internet world where when like you say the government is awesome and people type it like every other word, upper lower. That's a way to kind of like be condescending about something without, So yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just letting you know if you read it, don't throat punch those people. They were probably agreeing with you.
They still make that, don't they, guys?
Yes, they still.
Yeah, they still make.
You got to melt the soap down or drill a hole
Yeah.
and tie the rope in a knot.
Hey, we don't want to know about putting holes in soap, Tom.
Yeah. If your soap is not like a salt lick for a horse, you got it.
Damn it, Derek.
Yeah. He left
Find
the
a job,
man. Go ahead, Tom.
Number 5, not holding the door for the person behind you. Now, if they're like a good distance back, then
Yeah.
But if they're like right behind you, don't be that guy or girl. Where you go through
or
the
don't
door
be that person that's in front of me that does that shit to me.
Yeah.
Right, that too.
With the
Open the door.
smile too. With the smile.
Like
Yeah,
I have half a mind to just turn you around and just upper lowercase spell a bunch of words.
Just throw uppercuts. It's a lot easier.
Tim's tender making big caps.
Yeah, I have papers for the moment. Like I don't actually speak, so I just pull out the paper. It says F U, but it's like capital F, little U, big C, little K. Yeah, go ahead.
Fuck.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, don't be that guy. Or
No,
or
don't be
or
that person.
Don't be that person. Yes.
And then
I
one
would
more-
say
Can I add to that
6
thing
foot
too?
is the distance limit on that, Derek.
Can I add one more thing to it, Tom,
Sure.
about the door thing? All right, because this is a beef of mine. I don't know if this happens anywhere else in the country, but ladies, if we hold the door for you, don't give us a dirty look because we're doing it. We're doing it
No.
because we're freaking a gentleman.
Yes,
Okay,
and
we're
we're
not-
trying to look at that ass.
We're not belittling you by holding the door open.
No.
We're doing it because we were raised to do that. We're a generation, and I think it because I don't see a lot of the younger guys doing it, but guys in our age, 40, 50, we do hold the door open for ladies, but there's nothing worse than holding the door for that person, and she gives you the dirtiest look in the world because you held the door open for her. Sorry. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Can you please stop all your toxic masculinity and let Tom continue?
I would have looked at her and said, all right, fuck you then, bitch. Open the damn door yourself. You strong, independent woman. Don't need no man. Fuck off.
I'm picking on you, John.
I know.
Now, where the hell was I?
You're on
6.
6.
You're on
Yes.
6.
Talking at the movies.
Oh, come on.
Pro tip, they can't hear you on the screen.
Oh, that's
So
Oh, no, okay, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. So if you're in there and you're watching a movie and you know there's some bad dude hiding behind the door, saying they're behind the door, they can't hear you.
you should rephrase that as talking to the movies.
To the movie.
Or
yeah.
at the movie.
There are people who
At the
talk
movie.
at movies
Thank
who
you,
are
Lisa.
yeah. There are people that talk at the movies that are annoying as hell too.
Yes. And
No,
again, if you're at the movies and you're talking, go out to the lobby. Have your conversation then.
gentlemen. We're still out there.
We're rare.
Yeah, there's a few of us left.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Going to an express checkout with more than 10 items.
Oh my God,
This
that
one
is
real
just
simple, folks.
sacrilege
Learn
right there.
to count.
Yeah,
10.
yeah. Like if it says 15 or less, don't have 16.
No.
You're rude.
Yeah.
Like
Should we
that
do
one
it?
thing is going to make the biggest amount of
Wow.
difference.
Should we-
No,
should we-
I have seen people like go in the 15 or less, and then they have like 25 or 30. That's that's rude.
It's like, the fuck? There's a checkout right over there. Unless you're in
Yeah.
Walmart, then there's like 3. And 2 of them are self-checkout.
That's right.
I mean, never mind that cashier is now making $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Number 8, not replacing the toilet paper roll. And hanging it the proper way.
But how about if there's no
It's a
toilet?
beard, not a mullet.
How about if there's no more toilet?
You finally caught that, didn't you, Tim?
Well, Lisa screaming at movies is fine
you know,
because they
it's-
scare you.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's a scary movie and you scream, that's a perfectly normal reaction.
Yeah, the screaming, but the guy that's screaming, "Look behind you!" Look
Yeah,
behind
just don't scream that
Don't
part.
be that guy.
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I was watching
Don't scream
Criminal-
that part.
I was
But is
watching
it okay? Is it
Criminal
okay if
Minds.
you're talking to the guy next to you during the
No.
movie?
I was watching Criminal Minds last night, and they were killer clowns. Well, there happened to be a clown that did a jump scare. I screamed. I'll admit it.
I scream for ice cream.
All right, 7.
All right. No. We're
Has
in past-
anybody ever had to
Oh,
wipe
8,
their
sorry,
ass
we're
with
on
the
8.
roll? Anyone ever have to wipe their ass with the toilet paper roll?
Ooh, no. Number 8 was not replacing the toilet paper roll and hanging it the
Okay.
proper way. It
Yeah.
goes
Okay.
beard, not mullet.
Yeah.
Right,
Think,
it goes over, not
I
backwards.
think some people might have missed that one. So it goes over.
Yes. It's a beard.
Yeah, there you go, Mike. That's true.
You just leave 3 little squares.
Oh, God, no, don't do that. What are your 3 rules at Walmart, Derek?
Right there. Put it in the spot and go.
Don't berate the greeter.
Yeah.
Don't take more than 8 items into the dressing room. And
Nope.
don't open the air fresheners and test all of them and then put them back on the shelf.
Oh yeah. Don't lick the ice cream.
Yeah,
either.
don't lick the ice cream and put it back.
Don't take try me stickers from the toys and put them on the condoms either. You get yelled at for that.
Use this.
Hellmart, that's a good name. Hellmart.
Okay. Derek's 3 rules are put your cart back, park in one spot, and go in and out of the correct door.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, number 9, stopping short while walking. I will run you over and not even feel bad about it.
What was that? Say it again.
Stopping short while walking. I will run you over and not feel bad about it.
You better not go to
Stopping
Disneyland.
short.
That's like walking and then all of a sudden just
All of a sudden
stop in front of the person and
Yeah.
and then
Someone's walking in front of you and they all of a sudden just stop.
even though
Okay, I got you.
I will
even
run you
though-
over.
Yeah.
Tom, even though the general rule says the person from behind is the one at fault, even in the car accident.
I don't care. I
So,
will run you over.
the rules
That's
a little
that's how
strange.
Tom met his last girlfriend.
He bumped into her. Oops.
Well,
Is that your mod? or
it's
are you
true.
happy to-
No, I'm joking.
Is that your mod? Or are you happy to see me?
Yeah, exactly.
all right.
Is that your vape mail ban, or are you just happy?
Number 10, standing too close to other people in line. Give me some distance.
Yeah.
More
Well,
so,
especially now. Yeah.
right? More so now. But
Yeah.
prior to these conditions, give me 3 feet.
Yeah.
Now give me like 10.
I'll
Have
tell
you
you the
ever had
one.
a close
Go ahead,
talker?
John.
You ever had the close talker?
Mm-hmm. Where they're right here.
Yeah, dude, that is so trippy. God, I hate that. It's just like, hey, how's the family? Like right there. How's everybody doing? It's like, yeah, you gonna kiss me or what's going on here, man?
I deal with them professionally quite often. I have to either push them back or I have to take a step back.
Yeah.
And if
I'll
I
tell you
take
the
a
one.
step back, they come
Yeah.
at me. I'm like, no, you need to stay there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the one too close thing that really gets my goat, and that's a dad word phrase. Really
Really
gets
is.
my goat.
It gets my
It
goat.
is when you're in line at the grocery store and you have to use the checkout for whatever reason. Because I mean, but when someone just like rolls up on your fucking Achilles tendon with their cart, like from
Oh,
behind,
that fucking hurts like hell.
yeah, like yo, like
Back
you
up.
don't need to be all up in my stuff with your
Yeah.
cart, especially my fragile Achilles tendons at this age.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, that just drives me nuts when people do that, and then they don't say, "I'm sorry,"
Yeah.
and they know they did it.
Yeah.
They know they did it, and they'll pull back off of you, and you kind of turn around because they know they did it, you know they did it, and then they act like nothing happened.
Yeah. All right. And number 11, posting vague status updates on social media.
Yes.
Fucking hate that.
Yeah, like
You go to ask them, what's wrong? Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
it's not anything I can really want to divulge at this time. Well,
Yeah.
then why'd you post some cryptic post on Facebook and garner attention?
Oh,
Still got 45 likes.
Yeah. That's what I got for the week.
Whole world's gonna end. There's no way I can financially recover from this. I need some help. And then you finally ask them what happened. I stubbed my toe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I woke up and my coffee machine was broken.
Right?
Really?
The world
Really?
must end.
Right?
Good night. Jeez, those were all good ones, Tom. I liked your,
Well,
your list.
yeah, you did good. You feel better, Tom? That's what's
Yes.
important. Is if you're feeling better. We don't.
Do you gentlemen have anything to add?
I thought Tom was going to complain about smart home stuff this time around, but he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't go into RGB
He actually got
lighting.
through that fairly unscathed, which I was ready for a rant tonight, but
No gun topic
No.
tonight. No gun people
I
pissing him
didn't
off.
have to shoot nothing.
You didn't have to shoot nothing. You did good. We're just glad that you feel better and you can go to work, start back work tomorrow. It's your Monday, and no one's going to get
That
hurt.
pisses me off all on its own.
Yeah, but nobody's going to get hurt.
I don't see anybody. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you do see the ghosts, but that's
Yeah.
that's for another show.
We'll save that for around Halloween.
oh, can I tell a quick personal story?
Absolutely.
Just because. All right, so I don't have. I live alone. I have 2 dogs. I don't have kids. I've never had.
I'll be right back.
At least ones that I know about. Okay, but I periodically like babysit for my really good friends because they sometimes need some assistance, and so I go over today. I'm only responsible for one of 2 children today. Mind you, a 3-year-old. Okay, and. Great little kid. I got no particular problems. He's not a tyrant. He doesn't fall down. So I'm sitting there and we're watching Blippi, of all things. And Blippy was doing his episode on skating rinks and zambonis. So we're sitting there, and then I get messaging coming in from the parents, like, okay, we're on our way back, blah blah blah, blah. I'm like, okay, and like we're just chit chatting back and forth, And then I look up, and there's a 3-year-old missing. Like the 3-year-old was like literally like right next to me, like not even 5 minutes ago. And I guess my peripheral vision did not pick up the child walking away. Now, it's okay. He can walk away. It's not a big issue. The problem came when I got up and I'm like, okay, maybe he's just in the kitchen. So I walk in the kitchen. There's no 3-year-old in the kitchen. I go in like the back playroom where they normally hang out. There's no child in the back playroom. There's contractors in the basement remodeling their basement, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I don't think he would go down there, and they didn't come up here because I didn't hear the door open or anything. Then I'm like, well, maybe he went up to his room to go play. So I go all the way upstairs. I go back to his room. I open the door. The door was shut. I open the door. All the lights are out. There's no 3-year-old in the playroom, and I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to panic. Like you literally, your gut starts turning. Like, okay, I've just lost this couple.
Lost somebody's child.
I just lost their 3-year-old child. Like, did a home invasion just happen and a child just got abducted? I'm like literally starting to get like that upside down stomach feeling. I'm looking all over the place. I'm checking bathrooms. I'm looking. I go all the way back downstairs, and I'm like, they're about to get here. So I screamed his name. And I hear this faint from upstairs. I go upstairs and I find, you know where the little sucker was? He was playing. He was playing an unannounced version of hide and seek, and he was hiding under their bed. And I was like, I've never been so elated and relieved. At the same time, I was like, I'm so glad I never had kids. Anyhow, that was my personal story.
That basically sums up what I do when I work different music festivals and whatnot, just with full-grown adult drunk people.
Right.
It sucks.
You're babysitting.
You go through all that. You're like, oh fuck, I lost that guy. Shit. It's over there.
Unfortunately, Mike, he was not mixing e-liquid under the bed upstairs in the parents' room. Now, I would have, had that been the case, I would have said, well, make sure you bring some of that mango with you.
Bring some mango.
Yeah, once you're out of there, bring up that mango that you were mixing underneath the bed.
Yeah.
No, that freaked me out.
Let's get to your review. Did you do that already? I wasn't here.
No, I did not, and this is going to be real quick, and I will give a full review of the device next week.
Yeah, unboxing, yeah.
Yeah, it's an unboxing tonight. So I had received a device as a gift, and I was very excited to get it, and because I had been looking at it for a while, and anybody who knows me, I never get vape mail. Like, I never get anything new, like zippy, like nothing. And so anyway, the product that I'm going to unbox for you, and unfortunately I don't have like the overcam like all these fancy people like John has, and I think Brian can do an overcam shot too. But the item that I'm unboxing for everyone tonight is the Vaporesso Swag PX80. Now, I'm aware of the fact that Vaporesso has put out like 3 iterations of this being the newest one. And I think at least one of them I'm aware of has a single 18650. This is also a single 18650 battery mod. It's kind of emulates a side-by-side. It has a 4 mil sub-ohm tank on it, right? So basically, this mod does not offer you the ability to use other magnetic pods from across there, so it's not cross-compatible with other products' magnetic pods, even though they all kind of look the same size. So I just wanted and I'll read off some of the specs that you get with this. It's hard to see because I have very little light in here. But it's an 80-watt mod. It uses the GTX coil line, so any of the Vaporesso GTX coils will work in this particular unit. A single 18650, and it's USB Type-C. Comes in multiple colors. I will share my screen so we can kind of put that up, so people are looking for something new before you can't get anything. All right, that one, John. There you go. This will be from Element's website. I just pulled up any old website. I know where this one came from, and it was not Element. That doesn't mean anything in the grander scheme of things. But they come in 5 different colors. You get now that one that you're seeing with the carbon fiber facing out, that applies to all of them. Okay, and the reason why it is that way is because that's the screen side of the mod. So whether you get the red, the emerald green, the gunmetal gray, the tan leather one, and I forget what the 5th one was. There's another 5th color there. They all have that carbon fiber screen on one side, and it's got this sort of screen behind the plate. So it's kind of like phased out. So it gets real stealthy when the screen goes off. So you have that really nice finish. It's really easy to read. And again, it's got that sub-ohm tank on. So hopefully I can show this. I'm not going to do, I'm going to stop sharing because that kind of rips me as some screen real estate there. All right, so when you open the box, you're going to get like a little sleeve right on top that has like your manual and stuff. If you need manuals to read things, I think at this point, I think everybody's used most of these and kind of figured out how they work. So that's right on top. Inside the package, you're going to get your mod. You're going to get 2 of the coils for the unit, which is a 0.2 ohm mesh and a 0.3 ohm mesh. I think the 0.2 is somewhere in the 45 to 60 watt range, and the 0.3 is somewhere between, I think, 25 and 45 or 20 and 35 watts rated for. GTX has several other coils. You can MTL vape with this if you want. It'll be relevant to your airflow control and the MTL coil style that you pick. You also get one of these really handy USB cables that come in every box. So if you're collecting USB cables, you do get a USB cable. Remember, kids, this is a single 18650 mod. That means you can use your own 18650s in here. And it's not recommended to charge those batteries inside the mod. Please use a battery charger. It's healthier for the batteries and safer. You can charge in the mod itself, in a pinch if you need a quick charge. I recommend carrying a spare battery with you or something like that. I have not done a endurance test on this, but these are both mesh coils. I'll pull the mod out, and silly me.
Will you be dropping it from a 2-story building or a ladder?
I will not. I will not be doing a Jai Haze, throw it against the wall and see how long it survives. It looks to me like it has like a zinc alloy frame on it. It's pretty light. Obviously, you have your primary power button. You've got an up and down button. Here would be your USB-C port on that. I got the gunmetal gray, which I think looks really good with that carbon fiber on opposite sides. But all the colors look good with the carbon fiber. For me, maybe not the tan leather, but all the other ones look really good. And it's like a faux pas carbon fiber on the carbon fiber side, but the screen would be right in this range. So when you press the button, you'd see the screen pop up, and you can change your wattage. It does temp control. It does do temp.
Is it a tinted screen, Tim, or is it pretty visible in the daylight? Oh, well, you don't know yet.
Well, when it's off, like you might be able to slightly see it in light directly on the mod. But, when it's on, you're going to see it, faint. Like, look, I mean, in the screen share, you could kind of see it. It's kind of washed out a little bit, but I mean, it's just really stealthy. And this plate can't be removed, nor can this leather padding on this side be removed. So you can't change the colors. Now, here's the interesting things, right? So the mod itself is magnetic, right? So the pod just kind of pulls out, and it's got the fill port on the bottom. Okay, your coil is press fit into the bottom, so you just kind of press it right in. I think there are some issues with some cross compatibility, so they do look like the coil port actually looks like it can hold a lot of the other types of coils in the same size, but they're made in a certain way. Now, the funny part about this one was I saw somebody try to use other magnetic pods, and they reversed the polarity of their magnets, so only their pod works in this particular mod. Now, the only thing that I thought beyond, and if people want to know, you basically just unscrew this little cap. There's your battery port, and it's kind of like a side-by-side. You put your 18650 in there.
That's on top,
one
right?
thing, like I said, your fill port is on the side. But the one thing that I thought that was really interesting about this, and it's hard to demonstrate it, but one thing that most people encounter, you like that? Yes, You like my? I don't know. I did cut my
Do the
nails. before
Vanna.
the
Do
show.
a Vanna. Everybody likes the Vanna
But
move.
the one thing about this is one challenge that a lot of us have is like we fill up the tank all the way to the brim, 4 mil tank, and then the coil starts to go bad or starts tasting like garbage. And what's left? You got to fight through 3 mils of juice or pour it out before you can take out the tank. So this has like a lock unlock method on it, and I can't really show it to you. You can find it in videos. But this drip tip here, which isn't removable, at least is what I can find. When you want to pop the coil out, you actually unlock the top of the tank, and then you push down on the drip tip. And when you push down on the drip tip, it closes off the juice fill ports, like the juice flow. It completely shuts it down, and then it ejects the coil out of the bottom. So you literally can change your coil out on a full tank. And you just pop a new coil in, and once you press it all the way into the bottom, your drip tip comes back up to its regular position, and you can tighten it down, drop it back on the mod, and then you're good to go. It's small, feels good in the hand. It's good. It's good enough for portability, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's not some big honking mod.
holding
It's
it
bigger
there.
than your average pod mod.
How do you feel about the
Just
quality?
has a nice
of
form
it?
factor. Looks good.
Tim,
Supposedly vapes really well, but I'll give you that update and that report next week. But
Tim,
that's
can
the
you hear me, Tim?
Vaporesso Swag PX80.
I don't think Tim can hear
mod.
me. Tim, can you hear me, Tim?
Can you hear us, Tim?
Can you hear me, Tim?
Now I can. Did you have a question?
Yeah. What does it feel? The quality? Does it feel like it's pretty well made?
Yes. I mean, it doesn't feel cheap at all. I mean, it's a lightweight zinc alloy, so I mean, it's not going to be a really heavy thing to carry around, even with a battery. I did drop a battery in it once when I first got it, just to check it out. It doesn't feel heavy. It's something you could shove in your pocket for sure.
Pocket friendly.
Yeah, and the quality of the leather on the one side feels really good. It's kind of squishy and nice, so it actually has good texture to it. And then the other side's kind of glossy. It's not going to be a big fingerprint magnet for you because it's a matte finish, like a gunmetal gray matte finish around the outside edges.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little mod. Any other questions? How do you get the rope in it? You know what? There is. Oh, and the airflow is here on the sides. You can see these slots. To basically adjust your airflow, you just turn the tank. You guys can see how the airflow is opening and closing, and it's dual. It's on both sides. So you just kind of crank the tank, and then you can set your airflow. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I use my mech mods a lot. I think Brian does as well. I don't know if Tom, you're not a mech. You have mech mods, but you don't use them.
I don't use it.
Yeah, I use my TBL stuff.
Yeah, and
flavor, not tricks or clouds.
Yeah, Trav, I don't know if we can really explain that because we don't know, Lisa, because we don't work for Xamplebox.
We don't work, yeah.
Yeah, we don't. We just they give us a platform to speak to you guys, but we don't
share
know
our thoughts. All right, guys. We're running kind of late here, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the goodbyes. We usually go through the whole thing, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it ourselves here myself. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Sorry about jumping away, but my son's in the Navy, and he's been underwater for the last 3 months, and he showed up, and had to have dinner with him and his wife and my grandsons. So apologize for that, but I'm sure the boys did a great job. I got an amazing team of gentlemen here, Tim, Brian, and sometimes Tom. Yeah, and we appreciate all the comments, and you guys come in. We love seeing our regulars joining us every week. It's amazing. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the Xamplebox YouTube channel. Look for that little notification. Hit it. You'll get updates anytime Xamplebox posts any new content. And we want to again thank everybody for joining us, and we'll see everybody next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Where at, guys?
Right here on the Wednesday Night Live show.
On the Xamplebox channel.
Xamplebox YouTube.
All right, guys. Good night, and everybody have a good rest of your week.